Welcome to CivilNet. My guest today from Istanbul is Mehmet Onur Yilmaz, who is with an organization called Gundem Cocuk, and they are responsible for an opinion research survey that was just conducted about discrimination against children. Mehmet, thank you for giving us the time on CivilNet.
It's a pleasure for me, Sophie.
Mehmet, tell us what you did and why you did it. This was a survey of the entire Turkish population, a countrywide survey?
It's a countrywide survey, but it's a general evaluation survey, not such as case survey, but we also mentioned some cases as well. It's a countrywide survey.
Okay, and you tried to determine under what circumstances children are discriminated against.
That's right. Yes.
Go ahead and tell us what you found. And remember, this isn't for academics. This is just a general understanding of the social perceptions.
That's right. What we have tried to do is that try to find out the discriminative issues that is affecting children in Turkey in general, because we thought that it should have been different than adults, because children are also discriminating as adults, but there are some different titles, or let's say topics that we can tell, domains that
they were discriminated because of.
So this is our first report on discrimination against children. So we have tried to find out the major domains that we are going to focus on in the next years. And we have found out 15 different domains that our children are being discriminated.
And it's a mix, isn't it, of physical issues, ethnic issues, social issues. Maybe those are the three areas. Maybe we should divide them up. You did find that social issues are an issue, huh? Discrimination against the poor.
Maybe we can divide it into two. There are some common domains that children are being discriminated as adults, and there are some other domains that are children spatially being discriminated because they are children. So, for example, racial discrimination or ethnic discrimination or religious discrimination, you can also see those kind of discriminations as in adults, but
in other words, a discrimination against Armenians or Greeks or Kurds, whether you're an adult Armenian or a child Armenian, you're still discriminated against.
That's right. But there are some spatial domains that we have tried to focus on, that they're only spatial for children and some specific for children who has some specific features or specifications in their mean. So we have tried to find, for example, children may not be living with their parents are discriminated in such a way, or children in alternative care is discriminated in a way, or, for example, as first-degree relative of a children might be disabled is a matter of discrimination for a child. So if a first-degree relative of a child is, for example, disabled, it means that if it's a girl, for example, she might have to be taking care of her or him, so she will be aware of education or any other kind of his or her rights. So, for example, children may be involved in judicial system, may be pushed into crime, or being victimized may be a domain of discrimination for children.
Let me understand. They're discriminated against because they are somehow being discovered to be in illegal situations. In other words, charged with crimes.
The judicial system for children should be very special in all countries, but especially in Turkey, we have serious problems about those. So if you're a child or if you're pushed to a crime, either to be a victim or not, you are somehow victimized, then you are discriminated, starting from the first part of this judicial system to the end of it.
Okay.
And for example, for example, child's developmental physical discrepancies or disadvantages may be a domain for discrimination. I mean, it seems to be very normal. For example, a child being very tall according to his or her friends, or a child being a very fat or very thin in comparison with his or her
all the standard social issues.
Domain for discrimination.
Tell me something about the ethnic discrimination, because the part of that that's interesting is that a child would even recognize that another child is ethnically different. Why is it that children know this?
How do they know this? In fact, it's taught by adults because children do not know about their ethnic backgrounds, but somehow being a part of an ethnic issue in a country like Turkey, it is taught to be, so the children are taught that other kind of children who has different ethnic issues are different. So, for example, in my childhood, I had a friend called his name was Ismail, and some of my friends started to behave bad to him. Then I learned that he's just Alevi. So I didn't even know what is Alevi because we were just around 9 years old. Because my friends were taught that Ismail is Alevi, so he has to be different, and so he's a sort of discriminated in his friends.
Is there any sort of guilt-related discrimination? In other words, adults knowing that in the past there were events, violence against some of these minorities, certainly Armenians, certainly Kurds, Jews, Greeks, and so almost distancing themselves from that responsibility in a way?
Of course, there is. For example, in this report, we also had some interviews with some people between 18 to 25, and we discussed with them about their childhood. One of them was an Armenian girl living in Turkey now, and we deeply discussed about her childhood in this report, and we have found out many discriminative issues. And what is upsetting is that nothing has changed. Also, she used to be talking about 10 years before. Now there's nothing to change because for discriminative issues, if you're expecting a change, you have to change something, regulations or social behavior or whatever, but nothing has changed in Turkey against discriminative issues. So starting from school to judicial issues to social issues, even walking on the street may be a discriminative issue for an Armenian girl if you have a cross on your neck or whatever. So these discriminative issues, especially for example, Armenian people in Turkey, it is also a combination of ethnic issue and religious issue together. So discriminative atmosphere here in Turkey may be much more effective for this kind of people.
What do you intend to do with the results of the report? What happens next? Does this become a basis for policy recommendations?
What we want to, first of all, we want to show that this kind of discriminations exist in Turkey. So discrimination against children is not to be known that it is existing and we are living in it. So discrimination is such an atmosphere that you don't feel it. Otherwise, if you really do not talk about it, because it's everywhere. It's not like a human rights violations that is a case, but it's a type of life. It's a part of a social life. So why we do these reports? That we want to show everybody, starting from governmental institutions to NGOs to individuals as well, that discrimination against children exists in Turkey. So these 15 different titles in following years, we are going to focus on each of them.
Each of the types of discrimination.
Yeah, maybe each of these titles will be different reports and several different reports, and we're going to try to show case by case, and we're trying to increase the number of cases that we're going to have interview with, and show everybody that this kind of discriminations exist, and we have to do something about it. Everybody has to do something. State institutions and governments should do something. NGOs should do something, but on the other hand, as we are individuals, we have to do something about it, because discrimination is a one-by-one issue that is happening.
Thank you. This has been both interesting, enlightening, and also makes me think about the situation in other countries where Armenians are minorities, including this country and our attitude towards children. Thank you very much, and we look forward to successive reports.
Yeah, thank you very much also.
Thank you, and thank you for following us on CivilNet.